Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night once again on the bus, and of course, you know what that means. It's time to get that Friday feeling because international break is over. The last one of 2024, it's gone, it's done, no more international breaks until 2025. It's all domestic football bliss from now until then, and we start with an absolute humdinger, a slobber knocker, one would say, of a tie. We go to Tynecastle tomorrow night. Yes, nighttime game, a Saturday's main event perhaps. Under the Tynecastle lights, yes, Celtic are travelling through Gorgie Road to play the Jam Tarts, so we'll be talking about that tonight. Of course, we had the AGM today. A few footnotes from that I'm sure we will digest as well. A couple of contracts signed. Well, there was one contract that was confirmed and another contract that was maybe hinted at. And again, that was also mentioned at the AGM, but we'll also talk about that. And of course, anything else that comes along, because there's always plenty to talk about when it's Celtic, and there's always plenty to talk about on the Friday feeling. And once again, as you can see, Friday night tradition, of course, I'm joined by the Canada's favourite Tim, the wise man of the bus. Liam, how you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Likes to see a fellow Canadian getting recognised. Don't know about a 5-year contract. I'm sure we'll discuss that. But you know what? It's nice to see a Canadian playing at Celtic. And again, what a weird week. For a week where I didn't think there was going to be a lot to talk about, all of a sudden, you got the AGM. Yeah. We've got the Christmas card, which I always look forward to every year. I don't know if anybody can comment what they thought of that.
I know we can talk about that as well, yeah, because it's always an annual tradition now to talk about the Christmas Celtic advert. So we'll have a wee chat about that. But usually on the Friday night, it's a bit of an international bus. We've usually got Liam, we've got Pam joining us usually, but Pam's not here tonight. But Johnny, you are a globetrotter. Are you anywhere international and exotic tonight, or are you at home?
I'm at home tonight. I've not
he's letting us down.
Not been anywhere exotic for a while, and unfortunately, quite often when I am most of those places, the time zones don't quite match up. I'm generally landing and getting to a hotel in time to catch up with the Bhoys bus. If there's been a game on, like the last time I was out, was just the night that we beat Dundee 2-0. Houston that time, so I was got to the hotel and got a few beers ready and just catching up with you boys on the bus. But no, nowhere anywhere fascinating tonight. Not tonight, lads.
Fair dues, man. But you're always welcome aboard, Johnny. And I was quite happy when you dropped me a message to see any spare seats on the bus for Friday night. Of course, mate. Always welcome. Hop on board. Like many people are doing already in the chat. And while you are all here, you know what you can do. You know exactly what you can do, folks. You can do all that good stuff. You can help out the bus again massively on the old YouTube algorithms. Hit that like button. Helps us out. Gets us in more people's recommended videos. Of course, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. That would be massively appreciated. Of course, hit the bell notification so YouTube notifies you when the bus is on the road, and you'll quickly find out if you're new. We're on quite a lot during the week, especially now going forward. There's no international breaks, so yeah, plenty to talk about going forward. Of course, so you get involved in our comment section like Jim Dolan, Jim C, James Kennedy, Darryl, Ian McIntosh, Smell the Glove, Graham Tyrrell. Oh, the favourites are in. As I've seen on Friday night, it's all killer, no filler. And of course, you can go over to any social media platform that hasn't burnt itself to the ground yet. Twitter's getting there. It's almost a pile of ashes. Every day I check my follower count, it seems to be dropping day by day because people are immigrating now to a new one called Blue Sky. Apparently that is something now as well. So hey, if you're on Blue Sky as well, you can promote the Bhoys bus on there far and wide, whatever social media platform tickles your fancy. And of course, you can head over to piesports.com and you can still use that code bus 1888 and you'll get 12.5% off your tasty pastry treats. And with all that said and done, yes, let's get into it. Let's talk then some Celtic now that we're back from this dreaded international break, the last one of 2024. We don't need to worry about Scotland games or anything now for the foreseeable. And what a game we'll be coming back to. We're playing Hearts at Tynecastle tomorrow. But first and foremost, Liam, you alluded to it a few moments ago when you're opening your opening monologue there. The AGM dropped today. It happened, that annual event where Peter Lawwell and his cronies are put before some Celtic shareholders, and there's an opportunity there to have some hard-hitting questions, Liam. Some questions where you can, I mean, not that there's a lot to complain about. Let's make it quite clear. Everything's going pretty well at Celtic right now, but there are still some things, that fans need to get some answers on. And I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that one particular moment that's doing the rounds, but once again, just like last year, the board were given the opportunity to get a little laugh at Rangers' expense, a wee laugh around the room, ha ha ha, let's all laugh at Rangers and let's just quickly move on. It's a bit of a waste of a question when you've got these opportunities at times, but apparently somebody did stand up and sort of took the opportunity to take some digs at the Rangers and whatnot, rather than asking, the sort of questions that we want to hear about. We talked about investment in the summer. Yes, we did obviously get deals over the line near the end, but my God, it was hard at times, Liam. And again, fans want to know what is going to be the model going forward. We've had a shake-up in the last 24 months, of actually the last 12 months, in fact, of the structure of the club. The director of football, whatever you want to call it. When Mark Lawwell left, we didn't really get it announced as to who's replacing him and whatnot. All these things we're all still kind of in the dark about. So there was opportunity there, but was there anything instantly that stood out for you, Liam, that was highlighted at the AGM today?
I mean, they're stuck in. They're entrenched. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, their positions are concrete. There's nobody shifting them, and they looked like they had all the smugness that they knew it. That they knew that they are in control and that they've delivered success. And it was that. And so, it led to a very expected bunches of questions and answers that we've all seen before. You could timestamp that entire video anytime within the last 10 years or so. And Christ, it's still all the same people delivering the same rhetoric. So, I mean, the guy that asked the question, I feel bad for the guy. The guy, it is a question that does have that requires a legitimate answer. It talks about the fact that, the reason that a lot of companies don't encourage families hiring family is because it puts you in a position. It puts you in a position where that fails. Are you now showing favoritism? Are you showing a tiered system, of accountability and what you're supposed to deliver? And I think you could see that, that there was a very uniformed approach to how they were going to answer that question about Mark Lyle, because everybody had a component and a part to that message that was all delivered, scripted, so that when that question was asked, they knew exactly how they were going to respond confidently and in unison. And I don't know, I thought it deserved a much better answer. The fake outrage of how dare you attack my family sort of thing.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, come on. We've had much worse. Celtic supporters all over the world get tarnished and falsely accused of all sorts of things, on and off the park, right? And, they never want to speak out and have that same sort of outrage where anybody's desecrating the brand, and that thing. The other thing it really came. So, yeah, Lyle's still Lyle. They're smug. I don't know how you get them out. The other thing I clicked into as well, and that was, first of all, Jen McCulloch's head of television, by the way. Like every single question is just a tumbler that I think he has, that he regenerates and just pulls one out. It's for journalism. He's got a script, and it's just like there's about 6 lines on it for players and for the management every year. And I've seen it. His title's head of television and something else. That just goes to show you how poor and unimaginative that product is, and the fact that that's sort of leading the exposure. But the thing that Lyle said that I thought was really interesting was he was talking about performance and all that, performing in Europe. He didn't say about winning games, and he didn't say about getting points, but he talked about creating and delivering content that was exciting and innovative. And, and I'm starting to think, like, fuck's sake, mate. Nah, I'm in that game. Your job is to get fucking points. Yeah. Innovative. That's exciting. That's the content we all want to see as fans. If I want to go and watch content, I'll go watch fucking Sopranos or whatever the best in the world making content. I'm not going to watch head of television Jeff McCulloch making content and thinking that's elevating the brand. So
he's talking about Greg Taylor interviews. That's what he's talking about, Liam. There you go. That's our content. The Greg Taylor interviews. You know how much you love that. But yeah, it was to go down that route did seem a bit. I don't know. It just seemed like quite an out there answer, really. But yeah, some of the. See, a few people have asked the question, what was asked in the chat, like what was the dig at the Rangers fans? So actually, I'd sent this in the group chat earlier on, but the headline on this blog says shareholder has the room in raptures, right? Shareholder asks, Mr. Chairman, who was the last player to score against Rangers? Answer, Gary Hooper, because of course Rangers died in 2012. So apparently that got a massive laugh from the room. This generates hysterics from the crowd. He goes on to say Celtic are going for 55, and if they make it, they're the real deal. He then says the term honest mistakes was coined by former referee Hugh Dallas, but asks who benefits from these honest mistakes. He said VAR confirms everything we already knew, incompetence and subconscious bias for one team. Yeah, it's but again, there's a lot of evidence to show that we've had a lot of decisions from VAR as well. VAR just proved that they are incompetent. I agree with the incompetent part. At times it does feel like they're making up the rules as they go along, but subconscious bias, debatable. I say we've had a few decisions as well along the way. Then in this blog they wrote, this is like a stand-up routine, not much of a question. Peter Lawwell interrupts and then he finally says, Michael Nicholson, you are now the godfather of Scottish football. You are now Al Pacino. And now he's praying, Lord, thank you for making me a Celtic supporter. Thanks for Borough Walford, Jock Stein, Lisbon Lions, Fergus McCann, the second voyage of Brendan Rodgers, for getting Craig White off his show trial in 2017. Always good to see an innocent man walk free. Huge round of applause. Peter Lawwell jokes, and they've run out of time. That was what was written on, I don't know why, I think he gave him the Celtic Underground blog, because they were like recapping it all and whatnot. Strange, I say. Last year we had the one where a question got put to him, Michael Nicholson just went, penalty to Rangers. And I got raptures of applause and laughs around the room. And it's like, I think the AGM should just be treated a wee bit seriously. But I know, Johnny, you didn't see the AGM and haven't seen much about it. But Mark did say, and I have to agree with him, and I showed it in the group chat, he's under the impression that a lot of these questions are vetted beforehand. And I've got to agree. When you see stuff like that, I'm getting like, come on, you guys have got the opportunity to ask some interesting questions here and get some interesting answers and updates from the board. You're in a privileged position that regular fans like us don't get to, where you can get access to the board and to kind of just make it a bit of a, unless I'll just laugh at Rangers for a wee bit. It's like, come on, do be better than that, Johnny.
I would like to think it should be, yeah. I mean, as I said, I didn't see any of the AGM from the little brief bits I read. Certainly come across as being just almost, I think Mark almost predicted it last night on last night's show. Sorry, or is that MC? I should be saying. I'm not
MC,
too sure.
yeah. MC and RB, yep.
He kind of predicted it, and yeah, I think to have a laugh at Rangers should be left to the likes of us. Really, they're up there to do serious business, and it's like you said, if you're a shareholder and you're getting the chance to go and you're going to ask questions, then I think you should ask questions about the here and now. What's going to happen now? What's going to happen in the future? I would have quite liked to have seen, and I know he's not thinking, but what's his name that's just been appointed, the doctor? Tisdale?
Oh, Tisdale, yes. Yes.
Apparently going to be, apparently he had quite a say in the previous transfer window unofficially, and now he's going to be in there hands-on, and it would have been quite nice if he was at the table for him to be asked some questions of what his plans are and how he sees it going in the future. And are we going to continue the way we finished the last transfer window, where we did, albeit belatedly, and some of us might think, well, we were kind of pushed into that corner, particularly the night that Kyogo got injured at Easter Road, that we all think, well, Brendan obviously went in and says, right, I need Ida in and I need him in now, get the job done, and a few more. So, but I thought there might have been a few more questions regarding the transfer window that's just passed, but also what's coming up in January. How are we going to look at strengthening in January? And also, what's the plans for next year to strengthen, to try and get us through qualifiers for the Champions League? Because that's where it is. You've said quite a lot, Phil, over the last 2 or 3 years you've been on this bus, that we're going to run out of automatic qualification for Champions League. Yeah. And it's not going to be easy to qualify again next year. I mean, I don't know how many rounds we might have to play.
I think, and I
minimum of
I
2?
think it's 2. I think so,
Right,
but
so,
not 100% certain on that.
You know, when you get to that level, you're starting to get to the better of the weaker ones that have come through the game 3 and 4 or whatever it is. You know, their first and second games. I mean, who was it we beat in the first game again? 5-1. They'd come through 4 qualifying groups, hadn't they?
It was Slovan Bratislava.
They come through 4 qualifying rounds.
They did, yeah.
You know, so they don't well even get there. But so I'd like to see some more questions regarding that rather than who scored the last Celtic player to score against Rangers. Like, you know, yeah. So it seems to have gone pretty much the way I think a lot of us thought it probably would do. Loaded questions, scripts. No risks taken, no troublemakers now. The likes of our Mark Kearney, for example, could be one of the biggest shareholders at Celtic, and he wouldn't get anywhere near the room.
Whoa, where do you think you're going?
Yeah, when you're going there, yeah. Turn around and walk out, yeah.
But you're right to ask about the investment, because I think it was on Tuesday night, I was talking to David and Regan about this. You know, we talk about the January window that's coming up, right? And I know Celtic, you know, things are going along quite nicely, and there might be some fans that look at, do we really need to improve? Well, yeah, there's a good chance that we're still going to be in Europe in the Champions League come the second half of the season. Now we've got 2 more games in the league section to play at the tail end of January, but any new players signed in January can't play in that. But the way things are going, it's not a stretch to say that Celtic are going to be in the knockout stages, and you know, now we're narrowing it down to the nitty-gritty, and it's like we're going to probably draw a pretty strong team, let's be honest here. We need to try and stay in Europe for as long as possible and try and have a prolonged run. I mean, are we going to win the Champions League? Certainly not. Can we ruffle a few feathers, take a scalp or 2 then? I think, you know, the way things are going right now, we can definitely become a bit of a nuisance for a lot of these big teams, essentially go back to the way it was in the 2000s, where they were definitely afraid to come to Celtic Park. You know, they were actually afraid to play us. Well, not miles off that. So when the January window comes along, it's like we need to be looking at some investment to ensure that if we're in that knockout stage, when that rolls around in February, I think it'll be about February time, then yeah, we can register some new players and try and prolong this run a little bit longer, because as you rightfully say, Johnny, we've got qualifiers, so there's no guarantees that we'll be in the Champions League next season. And if we do get the Champions League, there's no guarantees of what fixture list we're going to get. This season's fixture list came out brilliantly for us. We've obviously came through the 3 hardest teams, I would say, in the section. With Leipzig, Atalanta away, and Dortmund. I know we've still got Aston Villa to play, but that is the last game of the group. And the way things are going, hopefully we don't go to Villa Park needing to win or anything like that. But I think I'm quite confident in saying I think we'll be in a position where we can kind of, you know, we know our fate by the time that game comes around.
Yeah, but hopefully we're playing for prize money rather than points to necessarily, you know, because the job will be done, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And hopefully Aston Villa's job is done and they're not needing something at that point, because, I don't want to be in that position either. But no, we do need to ask these questions. But yeah, it seemed like it didn't really answer much at all from what's came out from the AGM today. But an interesting snippet, before we talk about the confirmed contract, Liam, from Alistair Johnson, Brendan Rodgers dropped a wee Brendan Rodgers style hint saying that maybe I could stay longer than the 3 years. Now that he's over that first year, but it was a little bit rocky at times, and he even quipped about, I mean, most people wanted me out for most of last year anyway, so I'm not going to commit to any contracts right now. Fair enough, there was a lot of backlash pretty much from the moment he walked in last season. And when it did get quite rocky in the middle of the season, then, yeah, there was a few fans who were questioning about it, if he should stay or what. But obviously he's came through, won a double last season. Things are sitting pretty good just now. But yeah, Brendan did drop that line of, you know, maybe I will be here now. Of course, folks, we've all been here before. We've all been here with Brendan Rodgers in the past when he did sign an extended contract, and we were like, oh, Brendan's here for the 10. Yeah, we even had a song about it. We sang it loudly and proudly from the stands. Brendan Rodgers is here for 10 in a row, and well, yeah, we know how that went. Although today he was saying things like, you know, being away from the club for a few years made me realise just how much I missed it and what a great thing I had. And yeah, he's saying all the right things again. But for me right now, I think we have to be looking at having him longer than 3 years with the way things are going. He is an elite level manager for the level that we're at. To attract a manager like that, For me, it's like I can't imagine where we'd be if he was to up sticks and leave or whatnot. So for me, I'm encouraged to hear him say that. And I say, I know, tentatively, we have been here before, but I'm kind of buying into it. I believe him, Liam. Am I being naive to believe him?
I mean, it's all a bit cuddly-wuddly, isn't it, right now, with the board and Brendan and the fans just sort of saying about the GM and them looking really smug right now, like they turned it, you know. I don't know. I want to see Rodgers with a wee bit of an edge to him. I don't want to see him happy with that squad. I want to see him pushing still. I don't, you know, I still don't think we've filled left back position. I want to see, you know, and again, giving Johnson a contract. Wow, 5 years is a long time for a guy that's had one bad year in a short career. You know, so I like Johnson. I like as a Canadian playing, but I watched him play for Canada against Suriname the other night, and first half, my God, he gave away a howler that should have been a goal, and then he had a goal for us chopped off, like jumping into the goalie recklessly, trying to win a header. I've noticed that he's not got a lot of discipline in aerial battles. He struggles one-on-ones in the aerial battles if it's a cross ball. If it's a ball that's coming down to him, he's okay. But if it's a ball coming in with any speed at any angle, some reason he tends to hide behind it. You know, and so, yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm hoping that's just good business and we're tying him down. What I'd hate to see is for him to lose form and then we're stuck with a guy on a really, really lengthy contract. And, you know, but by the way, you know, I thought Anthony Ralston played 2 really good games for Scotland during the break as well. You know, and it's funny the amount of, you know, what that boy gets put in for the most least amount of gratitude and recognition I've seen any Celtic players, you know. So anyway, hats off to him. But yeah, I still want to see Johnson pushed. Because when Ralston had a bit of form and all that pushed Johnson to come back. You know, so I hate to see complacency in the team. That's what I don't like about the left-hand side of the park. And that's got every way to sort of mirror copy each one if they get too complacent. So I want to see him pushing himself. I want to see a really good effort now after that this is an earned contract upgrade. And, yeah, you know, it's more than just wages, you know. But, yeah, it's a long time to lock somebody down for, you know.
As I said, I drew comparisons to Mikael Lustig. He's definitely got that sort of personality where he's definitely bought into the club. Lustig was here for, 8-9 years or something like that. And I've got to say this as well. There's been a lot of discourse recently on Twitter talking about Alistair Johnson and talking about right-backs and best right-backs we've had in this century, because the obvious answer is Danny McGrain. Right? That's the obvious answer, right? But talking about this century, and I was flabbergasted, that's the word I'm going to use for it, the lack of love for Mikael Lustig. And I think it is recency bias, because people just remember the last couple of years with his legs had definitely gone, right? His legs were definitely, not doing him many favours by that point. But I felt like Lustig was fantastic at his peak. He was brilliant, especially in the early days under Lennon, getting forward. Some of the crosses he could put in from that right-hand side, fantastic. And then I was, when people were debating about Alistair Johnson, the best right back we've had this century, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know. I say Jackie McNamara probably the best one this century. I think that's got to be. But yeah, I was absolutely surprised when I was scrolling through this thread and people were debating it, and I'm like, not one person has said Lustig, not a single person. So justice for Mikael Lustig. And yes, Graham Tyrrell, PC Lustig was a legend. Damn right, he was good for a goal as well. Always good for getting a goal. Yeah,
what was that one he scored against Rangers when he strolled through 3 or 4 of them and then just, I could not believe, I thought, that's a fullback. Like, no way.
That was a 5-1 game at Ibrox, yes. That was
I think I was in Thailand watching that game, if I remember rightly. I think it was that one.
Sensational. Absolutely sensational. That was just capped it off. It's like, because he was one of the players that they hated, like they properly hated him. So for him to just rub it in and the celebrations, I think, it was just fantastic. What a moment. But yeah, I did find that interesting with the discussions going on online, on Twitter and whatnot about the best right backs. And Yeah, I was like, not a single tweet about Mikael Lustig. I was like, shocking.
I think one of the main things that's making Johnson look. I mean, I'm quite happy he's signed a new contract, but I think one of the main things that's making him look or stand out so much this season is it's not so much defensively, because, like Liam says, he can be a bit rash. And there was a few times last year when he's making last ditch. They look fantastic when it happens, last ditch saving tackles. But if you're making a last ditch saving tackle, it's because you've already messed up somewhere already, or somebody's messed up somewhere online. But I think the link-up play and the partnership that he's building up with Kuhn is really showing up Johnson is in such a good light as well, because they have got a good partnership going, not only going forward, but also Kuhn coming back and helping out defensively. So I think there's a lot of that is obviously contributing towards Johnson's current good form. And I'm quite happy he's signed another contract and he is committed. And I think I put it in the chat on Tuesday night when I was watching you lads on Tuesday. I remember him being interviewed and saying, what's your ambition over the next 5 years? To play well enough to get another 5-year contract. And I thought, well, he's showing some commitment here, and he's shown it again. And I think you're right, Phil. I think he could be somebody who sticks around to the end of this contract as well. And what have they actually done? So did he still have 3 years to go on his current contract?
Something like that. And he's signed up now till 2029.
So they've extended that one by a further 2 years, which now takes him to 5 years. Is that right?
Aye, that sounds right. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm quite happy. And again, it's one of these ones. If you're asset rich, protect your assets. So,
Yeah, he's a guy on the upward trend right now. He is in form, and we know what it's like. We've always got the vultures hovering around us. It's just where we are in the food chain in the world of football. We're used to it now. Every couple of years, you'll have a player that will come in and do a great job, and then a Southampton or something like that comes along and takes them away, and it's a depressing thought. But we've got to protect our assets. We've got to make sure that we've got them tied down, so that when these very cash-rich clubs from down south come looking for them, we can rightfully ask for as much money as we can get out of them. I mean, people would argue that maybe we didn't get enough for Matt O'Reilly in the summer. Brighton have got a lot more than that, but it's one of the things. So getting Johnson tied down. It covers both ways. He is going to show a lot of commitment. Hopefully he keeps going the way he is, and if he sticks around for a long time, then great. And if he continues this for him and a club comes in and pays massive money for him, then again, great, I suppose, in a way, because that's just sadly the world that we live in. But hopefully we can see a bit of that trend stopping with the European forum. Hopefully we can start to attract players of a good quality and keep them for a good while as well, especially with the new Champions League format, and we can kind of show them, look, you're not just coming here for 8 games and then that's it. We can actually go quite far in this tournament. We can actually get into the knockout stages and prolong it a little bit, get those big European nights. So hopefully that is enough to attract them. But another fullback as well, Johnny, I'll come back to you because we know what Liam's going to say about this. We know exactly. So a comment came in regarding something that was said at the AGM today from Graham Tyrrell, and he said, interesting, Brendan, talking about Taylor's contract situation, because as we all know, he's currently not signed a new deal, and as of January, he can talk to our clubs. But reading between the lines, it seems Greg is definitely away. Interesting one, Johnny. I mean, I've thought it for a while, and I don't think there's been any falling out, because a lot of people see these things and look for the negatives right away, like, oh God, what's happened there? I just think Greg Taylor, maybe himself, just thinks, fancy a new challenge. There's nothing wrong with that. The boys came to Celtic in 2019, kind of was signed his second choice left back behind Bolingoli. And obviously he got his way in there, kept his place. We've signed a couple of left backs since then, and nobody's been able to basically displace him. He's won a treble, a couple of doubles. He's won a fair amount of trophies along the way. He's probably won multiple trebles when I think about it, actually, because so we do. He's won everything there is to really win. It's nothing wrong if he fancies just, going for a new challenge. The only thing is, with Celtic being Celtic, Johnny, it's not like them to let a player walk away for nothing. So does he disappear in January so we can recoup any sort of money? Or do you think there is going to be like a late contract signing here and he is going to get tied down for a new deal out of nowhere? But me personally, I think Taylor will leave. I think that he's winding down now, his Celtic time.
Well, as I said to you before we came on, I didn't see any of the AGM, and I haven't read much about it, and so I can't read between the lines that Graham's talking about. But without you can take the AGM out of the situation, normally we'd have had a player signed up. He can talk to people from the 1st of January officially.
Yeah.
So I think a player of Taylor's level, I'm not too sure what Liam thinks of Taylor. He's never really made it quite clear. But, a player of his level, he would surely want something wrapped up, and he would be pushing for a contract at Celtic. If he had a decent contract put down in front of him, he would probably sign it, unless he already knows who's sniffing around in the background unofficially. And he maybe knows. Maybe his agent said, look, I've had such and such a club on to me. They're playing at the bottom level of the Premiership, or they're at the top level of the Championship. They call
Championship.
it the Championship. So maybe he's got an idea of what's coming, and I don't think he'll sign that contract. I think he probably will go. I also don't think Celtic will sell him in January unless we've got somebody else coming in. I can't think of anybody that might possibly be available in January for around about 10 or 12 million or whatever. But because we can't afford to, without somebody else coming in, we can't afford to let Taylor go, because as Mark was saying last night, I do tend to agree with Mark. Valley really hasn't had a look in since the story started to come around that Barcelona were maybe wanting him back because they've got some either injury crisis or a form crisis to their current left backs. So I know last year we took the risk and we went down to one, and only one.
Yeah.
Fullback, left back in the building. We can't go down to no left backs in the building in January. So, in a nutshell, I think Taylor probably is going to go, but nothing to do with what might have been said today or not. I think we've just let this one get too close to I can sign for somebody else for nothing on January the 1st. I mean, this is November the 22nd, so we're talking 6 weeks. When was the last time we let somebody go to 6 weeks? Not out of contract, but able to talk to somebody else without, legally, if you want to use that term. So I think the writing's on the wall. Yeah, he's probably going to move on. But it's like you said, it's not a fallout. It's just like very similar to Armstrong when he decided, I've done everything I can do in Scottish football. I want to go down and have a few relegation battles with Southampton. And he's now in Canada, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vancouver Whitecaps. Yep.
Right.
He's there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So and at the end of the day, it's all about let's get the pension pot filled up for when I retire.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I don't think he'll be a media sort of type. Will he? Going into the media, he never gets used on any games or
nice
that don't involve Celtic when he's not playing or anything like that. So
nice. Well, here's something, Liam, you've been trying to manifest this, I think, in recent weeks, saying he'll probably end up in Vancouver just to haunt you. But yeah, Graham Tyrrell's saying that as well. He's going to the MLS. He's pals with Ryan Gauld. He's claiming, because Ryan Gould's at Vancouver with Stuart Armstrong as well. So yeah, you just know what's going to happen, Liam. You're going to walk around the corner in Vancouver, and there's Greg Taylor going to be looking at you, mate.
I want to work with you. Money out there, aren't they, Liam?
What's that?
Money out there that I'm saying he could well do, because they're paying good money out there at the moment, aren't they?
Aye, I heard Ryan Gauld was on 70 grand a week.
Jeez, oh.
And that was a guy who worked for the Whitecaps that told me that. I was fucking shocked, because I was asking, like, if the Celtic had come in, if he think he went over Sky New Melon, and he sort of slipped how much money he was making. I was like, Jesus. I don't know if that was pounds or dollars. Either way, it's not.
It's a lot of money.
Not what they used to get. I mean, I remember knowing guys that played. Also like Canadian players that went on to the teams, the franchise players, and they weren't making a lot of money, and this was like 10, 12 years ago, But going back to the Greg Taylor thing, I'm just really excited for this next chapter in my life and Greg Taylor's life at the time, that they're not crossing over. I don't watch the Whitecaps anyway, so if he comes here there's a good chance I could put an arm around the shoulder, take him aside, tell him some of the things he's doing wrong, send him back out there, bit of confidence, you know what, pumped up Wallers, had a chat, I'm ready to go. The other thing I was thinking as well, he might be leaving football altogether. He's grown as long, you know, he might see himself as his next wee, I don't know, I mean, if they're making a Harry, J.K. Rowling's back in a good book, so if they're making a new Harry Potter, he'd be about 26, 27, maybe that's why he's growing the hair, you know, so, I mean, there's lots of great opportunities out there, and I don't think we hear the last of Greg Taylor, so I think, just, hey, thanks for the journey, man.
Yeah, well, see, as he achieved a lot at Celtic, so if he is heading off, then, but again, he's just been mentioned today. If Graham Tyrrell had followed that up and said it was actually in Brendan's press conference today, just said he's confident Taylor will give us all for the remainder of his time. Just,
Phil, he could be going to Rangers, you never know.
Oh, no. No.
It's happened before.
Oh, jeez. Well, oh, God. No. Could you imagine? No. Surely not. Well, I'd say it has happened before somewhere in the past. Him, we do not speak about, but surely not. But we'll see where Greg Taylor ends up. Maybe he'll just stay at Celtic. Who knows?
He might have some family he needs to make it up to it, because apparently he comes from there anyway, on that side of the sea.
Yeah,
that was the when he came in. It was publicised that he was a Rangers fan growing up. So again, many players or many people that have grew up.
We've had more than a few.
Kenny Dalglish did all right. He did more than all right. Let's be honest. You know, it's not a huge issue once they put on the shot.
I put Greg Taylor more in the Lewis Morgan camp than the Kenny Dalglish camp. You know what I mean? Let's
There's a suggestion from Sandwich Brigade saying that he's the new Wolverine. They'll need to recast Wolverine pretty soon. Hugh Jackman's obviously finished with that role or almost finished with it. So yeah, there you go. He could do that. He could definitely follow that one.
Wolverine gets a mini-me in this sequel. You know, Greg Taylor.
It's Greg Taylor.
It's
stunt double. Oh man, but yeah, we'll see what happens with the future holds for Greg Taylor. I'm sure we'll talk about him again. It's a Friday feeling tradition. We always have to talk about him at some point. But Liam, you also said as well at the top of the show you wanted to have a wee chat about the Christmas advert and talk about that. So I saw a part of it getting filmed at Celtic Park a few weeks ago. Tony Roper with those funny trousers on. Because I spotted them just down from where we sit. That's Tony Roper, and we kind of figured at the time it'll be something to do with the Christmas ad. Lo and behold, it was.
It's funny, they seem to go in a pendulum, the Celtic, as they go from one that's like, all right, this is vibrant, we're going to push product, and this one, all right, we've got to capture, we've got to be memories and Celtic family and all that sort of stuff. Right, push product again, and I don't know, I thought it was too long for a start. I guess I've looked at the comments and I'm looking at people really like them, and I'm thinking, Christ, I mean, that looks like it was written by a 10-year-old. Tony Roper, I mean, I guess he's a panto guy or something, right? And I'm just thinking, what are the people associated with Celtic that are in entertainment and all that? Could we no do a better Christmas ad? I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that have come out of Man United, Man City, Arsenal, and they're really good pieces of creative content, Mr. Lowell.
Content, yeah, there's that word.
Yep. And they get shit. And I get the sentimentality and all that sort of thing. That's a very Scottish trait. Seems to double when you leave home. But, I think there has to be a quality to it as well. I mean, I don't know. There's so many good Scottish young filmmakers that you could do something to get the community involved or give it a chance so that young filmmakers could make their Celtic Christmas sort of thing rather than that sort of wooden thing that was ironed together and took 4.5 minutes to unfold, Yeah. So that's just my professional opinion of it and that. But I think there's an opportunity to make it more community based. And again, if we're a brand, Peter, and we want to, have community engagement, and this is the perfect time for it, then get some of these young creative people involved and give them a chance to tell their Celtic story rather than just rehashing Tony Roper and McCulloch and all that shit,
Yeah, I'm very hot.
You got lined up for Bhoys' Wish, Liam.
I wrote Bhoys' Wish about 2 years ago for a laugh and sent it to you. Back on on
That's right. You used AI, so you did. Aye.
Aye, it was like,
Where, where did that start from? Was that Mark that originally suggested that? Or was that a person in the chat that said something about
I've got no
Boyce's
idea.
Wish? And Mark just keeps it going. But I can't remember if it was Mark that originally came up with it by Boyce's Wish or the Boise Bus Christmas single. But yeah, Liam did put it in our group chat one day a couple of years ago. He used AI to write a song called Boyce's Wish. It's actually tremendous.
and everybody was in it and all that, and milk and all that. It was crazy. But you know what? That might be a good thing for us to polish off. You know, I think. If we were to do the Boyce's Wish Christmas thing, and fucking Russell's jumping out his bed in the pub or whatever it is right now listening to this, I think we need to get some fan engagement here. I think we need to actually make the Voices. I mean,
Wish,
could do it on AI. There's a group called the Door Brothers, DOR, that are doing the most amazing AI stuff. They make all these political films, but they're wild. It's cool if you like Cold War Steve and that sort of punk rock aesthetic. But anyway, Boyce's Wish. What do you think? You in?
Well, Graham Tyrrell's up for it. He says Boyce's Wish. I'm up for it. There you go. He's in. He's all in.
Or something. We can film. We can all film bits and just add to it. Get all the members of the bus. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
No, we'll put you in charge of that, Liam.
You are in.
You're the man who knows what you're doing.
It's my work.
But yeah, you kind of know feeling the Christmas ad because there's a bit of a duality of man going on here. One comment, Graham Tyrrell said, "Love the ad. Wee Jamesy Cotter's a legend." Then the very next comment, I say, "Duality of man. Smell the glove. Xmas advert, pure cringe." So there you go. One comment right after the other. I said, I'm really hot and cold with the Christmas ads. There's some of them where I genuinely get a good laugh out of them and think they're great, and other ones, yeah, they came a bit cringy. The worst one for me is still, I think they got Johnny Mac to do the song. And there was a line in it, and me and my mate Chris always quote it just because it was so bad. It was proper cringe. Whereas when we had Ajer and Julien as our centre backs, it was that season. And the line was something like, Christopher Ajer, Big Julien, they're super cool and they're built to defend. And I just was like, honestly, you wrote that and you went, that's good. We're going to do that. We're going to sing that. You actually wrote that. You penned that and thought, that's great. We're going to go with that. I was like, so it feels ingrained in my mind forevermore, and I'm just like, that's the pinnacle of bad. Like, I just was not having that at all. I think that was 2019. I think it was that one. But the one the year before that was really good, where they had a lot of visual gags, and it was like Brendan Rodgers parking a bus because you would never ever see. He was driving the team coach. So it was a visual joke of Brendan Rodgers parking the bus, which, of course, at the time he was getting a lot of flack for. He wouldn't do that in Europe. Funny enough, he's become a bit pragmatic now. And then it was like the superstore window, and the mannequins had like Dembele, Tierney, so they were in the shop window and all stuff like that. So it was all these visual gags, and I was like, that's quite clever. I like that. Somebody's really thought about these when you look at them and you go to think about it a little outside the box. But yeah, then the next year they follow up with a line like that from Johnny Mac and the Faithful, and I'm just like, kill me now. Stop the world. I want to get off. I've had enough. That's it. So yeah, as I say, very, very, very hot and cold myself with the Christmas ads. But let's talk about Hearts. We have about 15 minutes to go. Let's get on here. Let's talk about the game tomorrow. We're playing the Jambos at Tynecastle, and always a wee bit of a sticky game, this one, Johnny, even though Hearts have been in absolutely rank form. Obviously, Stephen Naismith has paid for it with his job. Not that I'm complaining about that. They've also got a new manager now, but yeah, they're always a really awkward team for us. You can say what you want about them raising their game on. I definitely think they do try extra hard against us because they just don't like us. Most teams in Scotland don't like us anyway. But yeah, Hearts, outside the Rangers, Hearts really, really hate us. It's like the Aberdeen and Rangers thing. You know, they probably hate each other. But yeah, Hearts always make it difficult for us. But strangely enough, Johnny, there are times where we can just turn up at Tynecastle and just steamroller them. Last season, we had, again, a real conflict where the first game, we beat them 4-1 pretty comfortably. That was a game when one of the goals was Lewis Palmer, chipped the ball really delicately over the fullback, and Matt O'Reilly ran on and volleyed it. We ended up beating them 4-1 that day. But then, of course, we had the second game that season against them at Tynecastle, and they beat us 2-0. We missed a penalty. We had Yang sent off, and VAR, Don Robertson and John Beaton were just at it that day. It was all sorts of madness going on. As a fixture, when I see it, I'm like, oh, it's always a bit of a sticky one. The way things are going, this might be our only trip to Tynecastle this season, which I'm always happy for, because again, I always find if they finish the bottom 6, then we shouldn't have to play them again after we play them at Celtic Park, and then there won't be a 4th fixture against them. But initially, how are you always feeling about games with Hearts when they're around the corner?
I think games against Hearts are always a funny one, actually, because I remember me and Russell talking about exactly almost the same thing when we were doing the breakfast bar. So I can't remember if it was last season or just the tail end of the previous season. And we were saying that. You look at it and you think games against Hearts are always difficult and always tricky. And then when you actually looked at the record, actually they weren't. But we've always got this impression that this is a tricky fixture. But I think last year was probably the exception with the fact that they did take 6 points off us last year. And ironically, kick-started our recovery in the league last year when we did lose that game you just talked about. I think tomorrow, I'm confident we're going to win. I think it's great the fact it's a Saturday, well, maybe not so much a Saturday night, but just a night game under floodlights. So when I used to love the floodlights, pitch dark, the stadium. It was the only thing that existed in the world was you in that stadium with however many other people, and you just would have a great night. And of course, when I used to go to the games and I was at Tynecastle, it was the old Tynecastle with that terracing at the back with only the one exit. Yeah, right in the middle of it. But I think getting to the game tomorrow, I think it'll be a tough game, but I think we'll still come out in the end 3-0, 3-1 winners. I'm going to give you a prediction a bit early. Sorry, Phil.
That's fine.
But I think also, if we're going to, don't know if you want to talk about who we think is going to play or whatever. But
we'll go into that. We'll have a wee chat about that. Yep.
Yeah, but I'm quite confident. We also need to keep up the pressure, because I think Rangers and Rangers supporters are all hoping that our next 2 games were away to Hearts. Then in the league, are we then league games? Are we then away to Aberdeen?
I think we've got Ross County at home and then Aberdeen away. It's interesting though when you look at it the way the magical fixture computer. We talk about the magical random fixture computer. This season we've had 2 away games back to back against Kilmarnock and Hearts, 2 teams that beat us last season. Interesting how that came out back to back, because our last domestic game was Killie away. And now our next one is Hearts away. So it's like, it's funny how that happened. Last season, 2 teams that beat us on their own ground, and even Hearts beat us at our ground. But yeah, we get them back to back. And yeah, we've got Aberdeen a week on Wednesday, December the 4th. So I think it's Ross County in the league next Saturday. Then the Wednesday after that, we're playing Aberdeen away.
So, because I think Rangers and Rangers supporters will have their eye on tomorrow's game and the game at Pittodrie, hoping that we drop something, either 6 points, 3 points, whatever, and they gain some points. So we've got to make sure we keep the foot on the throttle and make sure we get through these games. Because let's not deny it, we're playing really well, and we don't want any signs of the nuts on the wheel starting to come loose. And I think we will. I think we'll win 3-0, 3-1 tomorrow.
Well, Liam, I'll come to you then on this one. Does Brendan Rodgers have Bruges in mind for his team selections in tomorrow?
I think he might have Bruisers in mind with this Hearts team that will certainly kick us. So that might be one of the things as well, to sort of protect your ball players and the players that are going to do a lot of the running against Bruges. So I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of respect for Hearts within our team. And I think now that we're seeing the way this team has developed and the way it's starting to play with that really crisp, passing, fast, lightning football, the stuff that we saw in the pre-season, we were starting to see in those last couple of games, and I was really enjoying it, seeing that pacey football playing. And what it did was that any time a team came out the park to try and kick us off the park, it completely embarrassed them. It amplified our dominance, and our power, much more than they could handle at that point. The more they, converted to thuggery and all that. So I think it's the same thing tomorrow. I think Brendan looks and puts out a team tomorrow. It's going to be the one that's going to be in a battle. So does that mean you rest Kyogo and start with Ida? I don't know. In this one, I don't know. Maybe I think it might not be a bad thing if we really think we're taking points off of Bruges on Wednesday or Tuesday night.
Wednesday, I think it is. We're playing
Wednesday,
them.
yeah.
So,
Wednesday.
I think he's got some interesting things there. What players does he protect? I know if I was protecting players, I'd be looking at Kyogo, Maeda, maybe Ate. And again, I think that they're the smaller players and all that as well, but Kuhn even maybe. But I don't know, all the boys seem to be playing and get off on the joy of playing and going in and hard. I mean, Kyogo, Maeda, Kuhn, they don't look like they shy away from a hard tackle and that. In fact, they're the guys that look to sort of turn around their game and punish them with football and trickery and stuff like that. So I think Brendan's got a really tough choice to make, and I think it's all about just keeping the momentum going. And I think that's, start our best players, and then if it does get out of sight, get them off quick and wrap them up, bubble wrap them for the midweek game. But start them, let them play their football, play them off the park with football, and if it's turning to thuggy, then we adjust.
Yeah, definitely. Johnny, this is a question from Graham Tyrrell. Is this a game for Luke McCown over Engels, or just Luke McCown in general? Because I keep forgetting, Luke McCown has been a revelation. I myself have been proved wrong. First, when his name was brought up on one of the Tuesday Ticket episodes when David was going for the transfer rules, I remember he put it to me, and I was just kind of like, I mean, I couldn't say I knew that much. I hadn't really watched much Dundee. I knew of the boy, but I hadn't really studied his game or anything. But my God, he has hit the ground running, and every time he's played, he's definitely made an impact in some way. He, in fact, scored his first goal for us against Hearts when he came off the bench. Scored for a couple of minutes to go to make it 2-0 at Celtic Park. But do you think McCown maybe gets into the midfield tomorrow, or do you think he's one just to bring on a bit of energy near the end of the game, or do you think he could maybe get in there? Because he does like to put it about a wee bit as well, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. And I think this is a damn good question, that one, to be fair, because I think Engels is probably coming in for a little bit more stick and a bit more grief than maybe he's fair. Like, he's maybe not come in and I don't know what the right term is, but if you looked at the two of them, I think McCowan's probably looked on more favourable by a lot of Celtic supporters, and he's done really well. Might just be the fact he's only really had to drive to Celtic Park instead of Dens Park for when he made his transfer. And whereas Engels is coming to a new country and he is settling in, and I'm not going to, at the end of the day, you're going into, when you move to a new country and you to a new job or whatever, that's what you do for a living. So just it shouldn't be, once you're on the park, don't think anything like that should really affect you. I think Engels has been fine. I think the £11 million tag, we're all expecting a bit more. £11 million in football terms, not Scottish football, but in football terms, is not a lot of money. I mean, even Brentford nowadays would spend that money for somebody for their youth system rather than for the first team. But I think McCowan might just be, for what you were saying, Liam, the protecting of players. It might protect Engels for Wednesday night and play McCowan, and you'd have no problem with it. You wouldn't be sitting going, "Oh God, Engels is no playing, but got McCowan in," because I've been impressed with McCowan. He's come in and he's done really well when he's had the opportunities. He's done really well, so it could well be a game for McCowan. I think it will be. I think it'll also be Trusty over Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yeah, that's one that's been in my head, because I think Carter-Vickers is at a stage right now with his injuries where he can't really play too many games in a week, and we're going into a period where games are coming thick and fast, midweek games, whatnot. So, but I think Trusty's now showing that he's growing into the team pretty well. Scales, I think, has been playing like a man possessed at times this season, almost like he knows maybe his place is under threat because we've signed Trusty. But that's good, because you want competition. You want them all to keep each other on their toes. So it wouldn't surprise me if Carter-Vickers doesn't start and it's Trusty and Scales, and Carter-Vickers is saved for the Bruges game. I think whatever combination you pick, Carter-Vickers is still the best defender that we've got, But I still think I trust Scales, or Trusty, and trust Scales. You know, I do to be the centre back pairing against Hearts as well. I wouldn't be too worried if they two were, you know, sent out there on Saturday night. But before we quickly go into something else, Liam, you are not the only Canada-based Tim on the bus tonight because, yes, I'm going to bring it up. Tony Henderson says, good afternoon from Ottawa, Ontario. Yes, you boys think we should sign Lennon Miller in January. So we'll quickly segue on this one. But welcome aboard, Tony. But yeah, Liam here is obviously in Vancouver. Obviously, he's Canada's favourite Tim. But yes, Lennon Miller, I think it's becoming more and more of a no-brainer. Even though I've said a few times that I'm like, well, do we sign him? Do we loan him back to Motherwell to keep his development going and whatnot? But the boy just keeps getting better with every game, every week that passes by. And I think Celtic have got to at least, Liam, be keeping an eye on that one, at the very least, monitoring the situation.
I mean, the same guys that put eyes on Yang and Kwon and, you know, these boys that we've paid out similar type cash for. Of course, come on, we make this. Plus, it's part of the brand. We need it for Scottish football. We have to be. If we're not developing players, we have to have the insight and the speed to sign these players up before they end up being a John McGinn at Aston Villa or you know, any of the other players that got discovered in England rather than Scotland. And so, yeah, bring them in and then figure out how we play him. There's no sense bringing him in and stockpiling, you know, and having another, you know, like a Scott Allen type guy, or, you know, on the field if we can't get a place for him. So I think we got to. This is where Brendan's got to come in and start managing the squad. I don't think we should try and find a way that he gets away from us, but I think we have to have a really good idea, right? So who are we going to give up to accommodate him, knowing that he's part of the midfield, which is the strongest we've had in ages right now. So I know these are the big hard decisions that elite managers can manage to do. Yep. You know, and think what you're saying about Carter Vickers earlier as well, you know, not being able to play and all that. We've signed him on a 5-year contract. You know, and there was a lot of people we talked about in this bus at that point when he signed that. A lot of us put up, well, you know, I don't know if that's good value. That seems like, you know, he's not going to be able to fit enough to see that out. So I hate to see it, but I think that's sort of showing it. He's looking lumbersome and all that, and yeah, I'm hoping we've got another backup coming up for that.
Yeah, I always feel like we should try and have 4 centre backs, you know, that can rotate around. And I'm not talking about Stevie Welsh. I know Stevie Welsh is there, but come on, we need to do better than Stevie Welsh. But yeah, I think we do need to have 4. If you play 4 at the back, you should always try and have like 4 centre backs to rotate around. 2 left-sided ones and 2 right-sided ones, just for perfect balance, I guess. But yeah, Carr Vickers, I guess I agree with you there, Liam. I'm pretty sure I said it as well, where it's all well and good getting him to sign that deal. That's great. It looks brilliant on paper. It's something for the content, as Peter Lawwell said, the content the social media account can put out. That's great. But see, if he's not available to us for a lot of those games, then it's a really good value. And I say since then, he's obviously had quite a few injury problems. I think he is now at a stage where they're having to just be very careful and pick and choose his games. But see, I think we're quite fortunate with Trusty and Scales. They've been playing pretty well this season. As somebody did highlight as well, in fact, it was Ian McIntosh that said Scales tackle on Harry Kane. Yes, I did see that. That was he was taking no prisoners with that one. Old Harry Kane, that rocked his ancestors. That one, he got hit that hard. But yeah,
you know, if we're talking about Cameron Carter Vickers, I think the big thing is, I've said it on here plenty of times, that over the last 2 years, not seeing CCV on the team sheet really gave me the fear more than almost any other player in the team. But it's not been like that this season. Yeah, we know he was trying to play through an injury, which was probably affecting him. But the fact that Trusty's come in and after a little bit of a wobbly start, he's looking like he's more than capable, and Scales has just, well, he's done a lot more than anybody expect. He's took the opportunity that arose. And I remember me and Russell speaking about it once and saying he wouldn't be the first player who'd taken advantage of other players' injury situations and actually went on to have a half-decent career. And he's done that over the last year. So I don't have that same fear without CCV now that I did this time last year.
So
But
it's
I want to see him getting back up to where he was.
Can I put a question to you both a second then?
Mm.
Do you not think with the way Scales has played and as a reward of that, why has he never been allowed a shot of making left back his own? Knowing that he's a reliable player that's taken every opportunity he's given to him, never let us down, and yet we've continually went with a weaker left side. Knowing that he plays that position and was signed for that position, why has he not been given a shot at that? Because that would solve two problems. It would give him the reward for doing well, show everybody else in the team as well that, you know what I mean, nobody walks into this team. It's got to have value. You know, you've got to be merit. You know, and so I'm surprised that we haven't seen that. What
Well,
think, Scales?
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure when he was on loan at Aberdeen as well, he was deployed as a left back. I'm pretty sure when he scored that goal against Rangers up at Pittodrie, I think it was because he was out on the left wing and he just unleashed the wrath of the gods from his left foot, and Alan McGregor had no chance. Just flew right in the top corner. But when he signed, he played for Shamrock Rovers, and I'm sure when he was first initially touted as coming to us, he was a left wing back. They kept saying, now a wing back is actually different from a full back. A wing back is expected to get forward even more, usually plays in like a 5 at the back formation, or maybe plays as a wide midfielder, but also comes back and, you know, covers defence. So if he's a wing back, that means he's got the pace to get up that wing. So you would think that. And plus, you're right, Liam, when he did sign his first season, he scored a goal up at Tynecastle where he came on as a left back that day, and he scored in the cup against Greenock Morton, I'm pretty sure, and it was I think he was playing left back that day. I could be imagining that one, but again, he's definitely played in that position. I'm sure he was there when he was on loan at Aberdeen. I think he was deployed there. So yeah, he's definitely got it in him, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of the things that's puzzled me about Rodgers. And about the whole thing of insisting with the Greg Taylor no matter what. And I don't know, I still think it's time to say it, because I think he's built the same as Tierney. I think you could get, you know, look at Johnson as well, by having someone more athletic and fit in that thing, there's a better chance of defending. And I think it also buys into this sort of powerfulness that Rodgers talks about, is bringing power to the team. You don't get that with Greg Taylor at left back. And I think we play Hearts this weekend. Every player in that Hearts team knows how to play against Greg Taylor. So I'm hoping Valley's the one that starts on the weekend. Or better still, I would love to see Liam Scales get a shot at left back in a good team and see what he can do.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think if it's no Taylor, it's going to be Valley, but he's shown that he's definitely got something in him anyway. He's already got a few assists as well, Value, getting forward and getting, you know, the ball into the box. So yeah, he's a threat at both ends of the park. You know, he's been, you know, getting better with his defensive qualities, and yeah, he's good going forward. So we've definitely got some options there. So it's just good to have an alternative left back right now after the second half of last season, where we just decided to wing it and just send Bernabei out on loan and just go for it. If we get Taylor injured, then who knows? We'll figure it out as we go along, but we managed to get through that one all right. But it's good to just have some options there. Before we go then, because it's just after an hour we've done. So, Johnny, you've told us you reckon 3-0, 3-1, you said, pretty confident?
Yeah, I think so. In the end, I think it might be a bit tough for the first half an hour, 45, first half even. I think overall we should have enough to do 3-0, 3-1.
Yeah,
but I'd rather Schmeichel kept just another clean sheet to be there. So I'll go 3-0.
Yeah, I think we'll have to work for it. I think it's one of those sticky games. We'll get the win, but I think it's one of those ones where I don't know who the referee is for it tomorrow. Somebody may come in the chat and tell me. One of these referees that stops the game a lot, tries to disrupt play. Of course, you've always got the added worry of VAR and whatnot, and what can come for that. As we saw at Tynecastle just a few months back, obviously at the tail end of last season, we have seen VAR can do some funny things. I think we will get it, but I think it'll be like a sort of like scrappy 2-1. We'll get the points on the board, but ideally I want to just turn up and just steamroll them. But right now, just about getting the points on the board, so I'll say a sticky 2-1, but we get there in the end. Liam, what about you?
You know what? I'm going to go for a 3-1 in this one, and I think we're going to see some Louis Palma fireworks tomorrow. I've just got a feeling I think every time he comes back to the international scene, he comes back with loads of confidence. He's scored goals. He's got the salsa going in all the videos. Training. He looks a happy camper. Get him on the park. I think Louis Palmer's going to try and put some salsa on this absolute doing. We're going to give this a small tomorrow.
Salsa then, eh?
You'll be the hero.
The Louis Palmer redemption arc begins tomorrow. Yeah, well, you're saying about salsa. Hopefully, it gives them heartburn. That's what we're hoping for then. That's what we're hoping to see then. So, yeah, there you go. You heard it first. The Wise Man has predicted the Louis Palmer redemption arc starts tomorrow. So, don't miss that. But yes, tomorrow night, it's on Sky Sports, I do believe. It's not because Premier Sport are covering it. It's on Sky. 8 o'clock kickoff, 7:45, around about there.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, basically nighttime game, Saturday night game. So yeah, looking forward to it. Saturday night's main event, and yeah, we will head off now, folks. Thanks for joining us and tuning in. But yeah, remember, hit that like button on the way out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet as well on the way out. Johnny and Liam, thanks for joining me tonight. It's been fun as always, and yeah, looking for PMP as well tomorrow night. It'll be a late one. A late one on a Saturday night. I'm sure it'll be box office, that one, Terry and Russell, on a Saturday night after a game against the Jambos. Well, it could be absolute carnage. So, yeah, look out for that, folks. And, yeah, all the best. And hopefully a good win for Celtic tomorrow. Catch you later, folks.
Cheers.